Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I'm taking a little bit of a break from talking about Final Fantasy 16 to talk about some excitement regarding Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Now, it's crazy to think that Final Fantasy 16 comes out this month, June 22nd, and it is not the only major Final Fantasy title that we are looking forward to in the next year, because Part 2 of the Final Fantasy 7 Remake series, titled Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, is still slated for this coming winter. Now, whether that's December or all the way stretching it to February or early March, that we do not know yet. But we know they are starting to gear up towards marketing for this once Final Fantasy 16 releases, and apparently a little bit before. You see, in the 7 days leading up to Summer Game Fest, where we're expecting a ton of announcements from a ton of different companies, the Final Fantasy VII pages on both Twitter and Facebook have been dropping these little developer comments. Now, of course, that's no coincidence. You and I have been here before. We know they love the number 7, so if Summer Game Fest falls on the 7th day, we are very likely getting a new trailer and maybe a slew of information, maybe interviews and posts and articles and stuff like that. Whatever it may be, I'm excited, you're excited, but maybe not everybody knows what is actually being posted on those pages. Maybe you hate socials, and quite frankly, I don't blame you. So I'm going to go over all 6 of the posts that are currently out right now and give a brief thought on each of them about what they may mean for the full release of the game. So the first question that there were developer comments on was, how is development progressing on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Honestly, a fair question. The amount of marketing for Rebirth compared to Remake has been really low. And I'm sure that's because they've been focusing on Final Fantasy 16. But it's still somewhat concerning if you're someone who hopes to finish this series of games while you're still alive. The answer says that the development is progressing smoothly and according to plan. We are currently working on nailing down a release date for the game. Now, according to plan is actually the thing they should have bolded here, because that's what tells people, hey, we're still looking at that this coming winter release date, whether it be December or February or whenever. But instead, they said working on nailing down a release date, which if you were just not able to see the other words on the screen would actually be kind of concerning. But this is a nice thing to start off with. It's still looking like we're going to have that same release window, and we're probably going to be gearing up a ton of marketing stuff over the next several months. Question number 2, how will players journey through the world outside of Midgar in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Since the first game was made, this has been a burning question because people are concerned about the various paths they could take. A lot of people, while they enjoyed Midgar and the areas we got to explore in Remake, didn't like how enclosed everything felt and more linear that it felt. And of course, with leaving Midgar, we have the wide open fields, of course, the world map from the original game, and all the locations you can go to along the way. Realistically, the original Final Fantasy VII is largely linear until the very end, but those open paths leave you options to find little side quests or things you're going to come back for later, and that gives you a sense of exploration even while you're moving on this central story path. The answer: players will be able to journey across the wide and multifaceted world with a high degree of freedom, experiencing a myriad of different stories along the way. Now, this statement, again, kind of draws on both fears and hopes. I do want some sort of world map exploration. I really want to be able to go a lot of locations and see how they expand the actual planet. While we know that the next steps are very simple in terms of where we need to go, that doesn't mean those have to be the only places that we go. This doesn't just have to have the towns and caves and whatnot that we experience along the way. And if they can give us fun and not overly repetitive reasons to visit other side objectives while we are exploring the rest of the planet, that will be good. But I also don't want something akin to Final Fantasy 15, where it feels like I end up moving away from the story for 20 hours only to come back and only kind of remember what was happening. Just too many distractions versus too little distractions. It's a delicate balance to hit, and I'm hoping that they don't misplace their trust in one side of that balance or the other. Then we have question number 3. What are some of the key things to look forward to in the 7 Rebirth story? Now, I'm sure this one they had to go over a lot, because if you are anyone who has kept up with the number of theories and dreams and hopes and whatever you want to call them when it comes to Rebirth story, you'll know that there's just as much excitement as there is fear, because we are expecting the story to really diverge from the original Final Fantasy VII. If you haven't played 7 Remake and you haven't played the original 7, I won't say any more than that. But we just don't expect it to be the same, to say the least. So the answer, players will witness a chain of narrative developments, I believe that's called a story, that lie at the very heart of the Final Fantasy VII story while discovering each character's destiny. That is a huge non-answer. Like, yes, I would love to witness a story that has characters, because that's all it really says. That being said, I think it's fair to say that they have to keep this one broad. They're not going to say like, oh, 7 Rebirth is going to be a complete departure from the original story while retaining familiar elements, or it's a carbon copy of Final Fantasy VII story. Go play that now. They're not going to do either of those things. So a nothing burger answer, but hey, they had to post something on the day, and this is a question that I think a lot of people were asking. Question number 4. Do I need to play Final Fantasy VII Remake to enjoy 7 Rebirth? And this answer is interesting. No. We have made preparations so that players who did not get a chance to play the first game can fully enjoy 7 Rebirth. Consider me skeptical, because outside of just a full-on, 15 to 20 minute recap, which I actually think they are going to put in the menus, I don't see how you manage that. Like, let's say they didn't do that and they just kind of tried to leave breadcrumbs throughout the way that reteach you the original story. That doesn't work. So the only way I imagine that this is done is either straight up explaining the first game to you before you even start playing, or putting an option in the menu, a video that says, if you didn't play the first game, please watch this video first to get caught up. Not the worst thing to do. Devil May Cry 5 actually did something kind of similar, but I think they might do a little bit of a better job here if they're doing that than 5 did, because the way 5 did it was, Devil May Cry 5 was kind of weird. It didn't really make me want to re-experience any of those stories. It was just like a really bland, here's text on the screen with some cool music in the background, and these are the events that happen. So I think that's what's going to happen, and just hopefully they do a decent job, but I'm still skeptical. My personal recommendation is, despite what they're saying here, you probably want to have played Remake first. Question number 5, has the battle system changed from 7 Remake? Now, I wouldn't have expected an answer other than it will be mostly the same, but they decided to give us, again, kind of an answer that's somewhat expected. In Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, new comrades will join you in battle, and you can cooperate with other party members in even closer ways than before. So that tracks to actually one of the few statements we have about how Rebirth would kind of evolve from Remake. We were told, of course, that Red 13 in Remake was not made playable because he was too close to the end of the game. So, of course, we're expecting him to be playable here. There's also the Yuffie DLC, so of course she's going to be playable here, though probably not a carbon copy of what she was. And then there are other characters from the original game, of course, that are going to be joining throughout this section. But the second part, cooperate with other party members in even closer ways than before, they did say when Intergrade was first released, the DLC for the original remake, what a sentence, that the combo attacks there would actually be expanded upon in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So it was something that they were planning on making far more involved. So I imagine it's just very similar to that, but just amped up with a lot of individual character reactions. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to go ahead and talk about all the things I would look forward to, but just looking at Remake's characters, I actually really want to see a Red 13 Barret combo attack, because I just think that one's going to be funny. That's the only reason. Now, this is the final statement as of this video. It's possible that they release another question and answer on the 7th day. In fact, I would bet on it, but either way, we expect to be watching a trailer reaction or something uploaded tomorrow, so yeah, I'm more looking forward to that. But the final question, will Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have new original music? Yeah, there's definitely going to be another question after this one. Many new tracks have been created for 7 Rebirth, and they will be making some new arrangements of tracks from 7 Remake as well. This was to be expected. I mean, Final Fantasy games tend to have music early in the game that gets used throughout the rest of the game in a ton of locations. So it's worth expecting that they're going to continue to remix things. Heck, even within 7 Remake itself, some themes that act as the boss theme are remixed multiple times. So this is no surprise at all. And the music in 7 Remake was phenomenal. I love the rearrangements. I love the remixes, the updates. What some of the best, like, hey, we're bringing this into a new game. This is a remake, but this is still, playing true to the original songs that I've heard in any RPG. So I'm really excited about this bit, but you also didn't need to tell me this because I was already excited, and I think we all have grown to expect great things from Final Fantasy music as a whole. So it is what it is, but it's nice to get something a little bit extra from the music supervisor here. And that's going to be a wrap for the video. Some really exciting stuff coming out of this, but all really just a taste, something for your palate to wet your whistle, because we all know something bigger is coming. Not to mention the other rumors that are going around. Of course, we expect that the 16 demo will be coming out with Summer Game Fest. Heck, Yoshi P himself said, hey, 2 weeks before the game comes out, we want a demo. The 8th is 2 weeks before the game comes out. It couldn't be more perfectly timed. But there's other rumors going around as well. Will they amount to anything? I mean, some people like to put a lot of trust in some old information that has largely come true since. Those of you who know, you know, talking about the NVIDIA stuff from years ago, which then, of course, informs what the rumor mill is saying. But the only other things I'm personally expecting, 16 demo, 16 trailer, as well as Kingdom Hearts 4 and maybe something else that's a surprise. But the other stuff, I'm not going to put my eggs in that basket. I'm just going to look forward to the things that seem most logical. Anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff leading up to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Are you excited for Rebirth or cautiously optimistic? Or maybe you're waiting till all the games come out and then you'll actually replay it. Well, we'll just have to wait to see which is which is which. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in that reaction video when the trailer for this comes out. Because let's be honest, there's probably going to be one. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.